مساء الخير.
مساء النور، أهلا يا سعيد.
يا حضرتك عامل ايه؟
الحمد لله، ازيك انت؟
كله تمام.
احنا هنعمل ريفيو سريع قبل ما يدخل إياد على الحاجات اللي احنا خدناها المرة اللي فاتت اتكلمنا بسرعة على ال first method of
كنا
salt
السولت
preparation.
ميثود خلصنا precipitation بس ما خلصناش titration و crystallization.
تمام، هيتبقى لنا titration وال crystallization هنعمله المرة دي. let's do it. بسم الله. طيب، احنا المرة اللي فاتت قلنا إن أنت in order to see what is the salt that will be prepared, you have to first decide if this salt is soluble salt or
soluble أو
insoluble
insoluble.
salt. So, in order to decide if you are making salt preparation, is this soluble or insoluble? Let's fix this. Remove. And we said that the first method that we explained last time was the precipitation, and precipitation was done in case of insoluble salts only. The insoluble salt was prepared using two reactants. What are these two reactants? What are the reactants?
anion وكاتيون.
لا، اتنين reactants that I must use. Reactant 1 and reactant 2 are both
reactant
are
2
what? What are they? They are two soluble salts. So
salts.
soluble salt number 1 and soluble salt number 2. And we said that you will mix them together and form the precipitate. And this precipitate, you will make filtration for it. Then you will take the residue and wash it with distilled water. Then you will dry it in the oven. That was the method with the exact details. Then we said that salt preparation for soluble salts are by two methods. They differ in that the
titration
first one is titration.
crystallization.
Yeah, titration is used only if you have a soluble salt. We have soluble salt from either group 1 metals from the periodic table, so group 1 metals from the periodic table, or ammonium salt, or ammonium as the cation. And the other method, you will use it in case of it is not from these types of salts. So it is neither from group 1 and neither from NH4 plus. In this case, you will use the other method. So not a salt from group 1 or from this, so from the ammonium salt. Okay, it's called the excess base method, or sometimes it's called in our book or in the exams the titration, the excess base method. Okay, this one I have reacted to soluble salts. That is the reactants that I have used, soluble salt number 1 and soluble salt number 2. But in this one, we said we cannot use two soluble salts. I'll have to use what? I have
One
to use an acid
and one base.
and a base, an acid and a base, and I cannot exchange this one or this one. Okay, let's see how we will do the titration method. Titration method is done by mixing again. This is my product. Titration method is the method used to prepare soluble salts from the group 1 or from ammonium. So this is my product. For example, I have NaCl. I want to prepare NaCl. I want to prepare potassium nitrate. I need to prepare ammonium hydroxide or ammonium bromide. I need to prepare lithium carbonate. No, they are for sure all soluble لأنهم أساسا بادئين برول 1. They are starting with rule 1 cation, so for sure they are soluble. Okay, you said that you will use two things. You will use an acid and a base. So how can I determine what is the acid that's required and what is the base that's required? The acid that's required depends on what is the substance that's formed. So it depends on what is the substance is formed. Usually we have three types are the main types, but we can still know more. So for example, if I have a chloride salt, as we explained before, then you need to use the hydrochloric acid. If you have a nitrate salt, then you need to use the nitric acid, HNO3. And if you have a sulfate salt, then you will use the sulfuric acid. So the type of the acid that I'll choose depends on what is my salt format. Here, for example, I have chloride, sodium chloride. So which is the acid that I will use? I will use the HCl. The third one I have nitrate. So I will use the nitric acid. The PR, I will use less commonly known acid, which is the HPR. This is still an acid that I will use. And we'll talk about the lithium carbonate, how we are going to make it. What about the base? The base is very easy because I can see that the base is made from mainly a metal. And we already took this in the reactions of the acids. Do you remember when we explained the reactions of the acids? The acids has to react. So this is the base. Let's make it with a different color. Lithium and sodium and potassium and ammonium. This is the base.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Okay, we were revising the last part for the salt preparation, the insoluble salt by precipitation, and today we are talking about the soluble salts. So we said that if, like we remember we said last time, if the salt is from group 1 metals, so my salt is soluble and starts with something like sodium or potassium or lithium or ammonium, then I'm gonna prepare it using titration. But if it is something else, if it is magnesium, if it is zinc, if it starts with aluminum, what if it starts with barium, anything else not group 1 or ammonium, so I will use the excess base method. So let's see the titration method. What is the titration method? Do you remember we said last time this is made by soluble salt and soluble salt, but this is made by acid and base. So this is my salt. Let's give examples which are a little bit more related. Lithium sulfate, for example. I have lithium sulfate, sodium chloride, potassium nitrate, ammonium nitrate. Let's make this in the same color because it has nothing different. All these are prepared by titration. Why they are prepared by titration? The first one is lithium, it's group 1. The second one is sodium, also group 1. The third one is potassium, group 1. The last one is ammonium. So anything that starts with this metals or with the ammonium, I will prepare it with the titration. صح؟ I will prepare it with this method which is the titration. احنا قلنا ان دي number 1 اللي احنا قلنا المره اللي فاتت، ودي method number 2 and this is method number 3. How is the titration done? Is it two soluble salts or acid and base? Is it two soluble salts or acid and base?
acid and base.
Acid and base. امال مين اللي كان two soluble salts؟
precipitation.
precipitation.
precipitation بس. يبقى السوليبل either titration or excess base الاثنين هيكون فيهم نفس الكلام. اللي هو ايه نفس الكلام؟ اللي هو acid and base. It doesn't matter what is the type that is formed. What is the product that's formed. لكن acid و base. طب what is the acid? We said that the acid will depend on what is the salt. هنا I see lithium sulfate. So which one you will choose? If you want sulfate, use sulfuric acid. If you want chloride, use hydrochloric acid. If you want nitrate, use nitric acid. طب if you want bromide, this is less common. يعني دول الحاجات اللي احنا حافظينهم في الشابتر بتاع الأسيد. It's easy. But for this one, this is less common, but it's still an acid. So it's still an acid. So I will use it as what? HPR. So I need to know what are all the acids. So when I know them, so I will know the acids types. So once I know them, I can say which is my acid that I use. But what about the base? What about the base? The base is very easy. The same metal that you are using, is the one that you will use here, correct? Here, what is the salt that's produced? Lithium sulfate. So what is the base that you will use? Lithium, right? Top sodium chloride. What is the base that you will use? Sodium, potassium, like that. Okay? So you said it is a base, so it must. Can I use lithium nitrate? No, Mr. Lithium nitrate is what? Is a salt, and we said we must use a base. Take care. If you make this mistake, then it is wrong. Don't use soluble salts here, and don't use acid and base here. The exchange is not allowed. So here, can I say potassium nitrate? Can I say potassium nitrate? Or I must say potassium hydroxide? Oh, I must say potassium hydroxide. Can I say sodium nitrate? No, sodium hydroxide. Can I say lithium nitrate? No, sodium hydroxide. Why? What is the difference between lithium hydroxide and lithium nitrate? This one is a base, but this one is a salt. Are you allowed to use salt? No, you are not allowed to use salt. Salts I use only in the precipitation method. Okay, right. This is the acid and this is the base. I can use something else. I can use the metal alone, the lithium alone, or the sodium alone, or the potassium alone. So it's not necessary that I use the metal alone, the hydroxide. Is this correct? Is this a base or just a metal? No, mister, take care. So what you should not do in the titration, do not use two salts. And don't use a metal. امال لازم استخدم ايه وما ينفعش غيره؟ metal hydroxide. يعني لازم تستخدم base. This is also wrong. الحاجة الوحيدة اللي مسموح لي استخدمها الacid and bases. طيب, let's try to choose one more example and give it for Iyad. Iyad, I need to prepare this salt. And I will ask myself the same questions every time in the exam. The salt that I have picked for you is cesium carbonate. Mister, I have never seen this salt. Yeah, but I know that cesium is from where? Group 1. So it will be okay. Right, Mr. But cesium is very reactive. So give something easier to Iyad. Okay, he doesn't mind, but I will still choose the sodium carbonate. Mister, this is also very difficult. Give me something that an acid I can know. Okay, I'll give you sodium sulfate. So this is my product, right? What are the two questions I will ask myself? Is this soluble or insoluble?
This is soluble.
Yes. So I will choose either titration or an
Precipitation.
excess base. Is it group 1? Yes. Yes. So I will choose titration method. Type. What should I use?
Titration لازم group 1.
Now, either group 1 or ammonium. Either group 1 metals or ammonium, then it will be titration. Type. What to use? Do I use 2 soluble salts? Or I use acid and base?
Acid and base.
Acid and base. What is the acid name and what is the base name?
البيز NaOH.
ممتاز. And the acid, is it HCl or HNO3 or H2SO4?
H2SO4.
H2SO4, because this has sulfate and this is
بس
saturation.
هتدينا water برضه.
And I must get water as a byproduct. Very good. This is a neutralization reaction, and any neutralization reaction will form the salt and water. What about the physical state? What is the physical state of these two? This is an electrolyte dissolved in water and electrolyte dissolved in water. And you said that this is soluble salt, and this is, of course, liquid. What about the balance? This is 2 sodiums by here, 1 sodium, so I will put 2 here. The sulfate is balanced, and the hydrogen here is 2 and 4. So I have 2 here. Now it's all balanced. The oxygen is 4 and 2 is 6, and here 4 and 2 is 6, so it is all balanced. Right. What if I pick the same question and I choose a different salt? So I will pick the same questions exactly, and I will give it to Said, but I will pick a different salt. What is the salt that you are going to use, mister? It's not very much different. This time I'm gonna choose something else. So here we picked sodium sulfate. I will use lithium nitrate this time. So the same 3 questions. Is it soluble?
لا it is not. لا it's soluble. It's soluble.
Okay, so it is soluble. Is it group 1? Okay, so what is the method used?
Precipitation.
Okay, precipitation is for which one? Soluble or insoluble?
لا sorry ما titration.
Titration. So I will use titration method. And what do you use? Acid and base or 2 soluble salts?
Acid and base.
What is the
بس
acid
هي
and what is the... No,
lithium في group 1.
lithium is in group 1, yes. I can choose any of these. I can choose lithium, sodium, potassium. Rubidium and cesium and francium are also the same, but they are a little bit more reactive, so usually not included. So I will use lithium nitrate, LiNO3. What is my acid and what's my base?
البيس لا الاسيد HNO3 نيتريك اسيد.
Okay,
والبيس LiOH.
very good. And what about the products? Is there another product?
H2O water.
Very good. And is it balanced?
2 هنا و2 هنا. it's balanced.
Very good. Okay. So now I have done the equations, the balance, everything. I just need to know what is the steps. So what are the steps? The same way I found the steps for the precipitation, I will also know the steps here. So I have something called a burette. I have something called a pipette. Let me see how I'm gonna do this titration. I will share the screen. Let's talk about it basically before the screen loads. It's a little bit slow. So I can either this time mix the acid and put it on the base, or I can put the base on the acid. Both of them are okay, but the arrangement that I will make will be a little bit different every time. In this reaction, I have a flask, and in this flask, I will put the conical flask. I will put my, where is the apparatus? So I'll put my conical flask at the bottom here. Either this method or this method. Both of them are okay. You can use any of them. And this one I here. The amount that I will put here will be a fixed amount. So the amount that I will put from the base or from an acid is a fixed amount. What is a fixed amount? Means when I start the experiment, I know what is the volume that I have placed. And one of the best methods to measure a fixed amount very accurately is the pipette. So I'll just bring my pipette. For example, I need 25 ml from sodium hydroxide very accurately and fast. So the best way to do this is to get a pipette. And there is a special pipette which says that 25 ml on it. So I will take this pipette and put 25 ml from my acid or base according to the experiment. The experiment, sometimes you put an acid or a base. So I will take my pipette which says 25 ml on it. And then I will take 25 ml from the acid or the base according to my experiment. It's very accurate way and very fast. So the pipette is what? Very accurate and very fast. I can get it in a second. Then I will put something here at the top, which is called the purette. What is a purette? This is a small flask apparatus. This small glass apparatus. This apparatus will help me to put a certain amount of liquid, which when I start the experiment, I don't know what is the amount. يعني I don't know how much I'm gonna need to use at the beginning. لكن ده غير الفيكسد amount الأولانية. When I started with this experiment, I know exactly that I will use either 25 ml of acid HCl, for example, or from NaOH. إيه الفرق ما بين دي ودي? What is the difference between the right and the left? This is sometimes used and this is sometimes used. ما تلخبطش نفسك. I will tell you later when to use this one and when to use this one. Don't worry about that now. But for the time being, I will just take this out. So I'll just take this out and keep it in the next page. So now we'll start with the first one only. This is the, come here. 25 ml. I will have a big flask that says HCl, right? A bigger flask that says HCl on it. I will go and bring it from the teacher and I will ask him, teacher, please, I need to take 25 ml only and put it in my flask to start my experiment. He will tell me use the pipette, so I will use the pipette and take 25 ml and put it here. Okay. And we'll keep this later. Then he will tell me what he will put. I will tell him I will put the base on this acid. I will put the base on this acid. So he will ask me to bring a burette. So I will go and choose my burette. But I'm a little bit confused because I don't know what is the shape of the burette. Let's try to recognize which one is the burette out of these shapes. So this one might be the burette. It looks like that. Sorry, system is very slow. So this one is a big one. And then I will put it like that. Ah, this is the burette, very good. So I will use this one. This is my burette. But Mr. Burette is very tall and big. So it's very tall and big يعني لو انت شفتها وانت ماسكها كده it's not a small apparatus. It's a big apparatus يعني if you see somebody working with it you'll see that you cannot be holding it all the time, especially you are going to use the flask a lot. So you need to fix it to something. طب what to do? I need to put it constantly on a surface. So I will just bring something called a stand. This is a stand. It's like a metal piece, and then you will put something called a clamp to it. So you will fix this in your stand so it does not move. بحرك ديت كده واخليها معايا علشان ما تتحركش وعايز افضل مثبتها. So I need to fix it. So I'll put a clamp. A clamp will help to make this fixed along my experiment. It will look like that. Let me show you the picture also. اعتذر تاني على الفيديو. Okay, so the clamp looks like that. I will just put the flask and put the burette like that and then fix it so it will be fixed all the time as long as I'm doing the experiment. Then what you will put, Mr. at the top, you said you will put the base inside. You put the base inside this burette. But I don't know, Mr. how much I'm gonna use. في فرق ما بين two amounts. Here I know the amount. I know that I'm gonna use 25 ml. But here I don't know how I'm gonna use. So هروح اسال teacher how much I should put sodium hydroxide in this burette. It's called what? Burette. He will tell me just fill it up until the end. So I'll bring my burette and then fill the burette until all of it. هروح املاها كده واجيبها واعبيها sodium hydroxide all of it until the end. So it will be filled until the end with sodium hydroxide. I'll put sodium hydroxide here until the end of it. Okay. رحت عبيتها يا مستر كلها sodium hydroxide. How much you are going to use in your experiment? You don't know the volume. You don't know the volume that you are going to use. كويس. طب ما تيجي نفكر كده شوية. Let's try to think what I'm gonna prepare بالظبط. أنا عندي مشكلة غريبة قوي. إيه الحاجة اللي أنا تحصل لي دلوقتي؟ I'm gonna put something which is called sodium hydroxide. Can you see sodium hydroxide? Can you see sodium hydroxide? يعني if you have a flask that contains sodium hydroxide, can you see it or it is colorless? Mister, it is colorless. How do you know it's colorless? It's soluble or insoluble sodium hydroxide? It's soluble. هحطها على ايه؟ هحطها على ايه يا سعيد؟ I will put it on something else which is HCl. صح؟ مش احنا قلنا هنحط صوديوم هيدروكسيد و HCl؟ هل انت هتشوف ال HCl؟ No, it's also colorless. طب وهتعمل منهم ايه؟ What you are going to make from that؟ صوديوم كلورايد. صوديوم كلورايد بيدوب في الميه ولا ما بيدوبش؟ بيدوب في الميه يا مستر. So you are going to make something which is also colorless. زائد what is the other product? water صح؟ يبقى انت هتحط حاجه colorless على حاجه colorless علشان تعمل حاجه colorless ووتر. الله. وبعد شويه يقوم قايل لك ايه رايك بقى في الحاجه اللي انا عملتها دي؟ جميله ولا مش جميله؟ هتقول لي ايه يا مستر الجنان ده وانا شفت حاجه اساسا؟ انت جايب فلاسك colorless حطيتها على فلاسك تانية كلرليس، بس انت ما حطيتهاش دايركت، حطيتها بالايه؟ بالبيوريت والبيبريت، نفس الكلام. يعني انا بدل ما احط ديت دايركت عليها حطيتها بالايه؟ بالبيوريت. وعملت حاجه ايه بس اعيد؟ عملت حاجه برضو كلرليس، والووتر نفسها كلرليس. طب ممكن اسال حضرتك سؤال؟ انت هتعرف ازاي انها اتعملت ولا ما اتعملتش؟ يعني ايه اللي هيعرفك مثلا ان انا مش بضحك عليك وان انا حاطط ووتر على ووتر وعملت ووتر؟ ما انا لو رحت جبت ووتر مع ووتر مع ووتر مش هتعمل نفس المنظر ده؟ هتعمل. هل انت هتعرف الفرق ولا هتعرف ولا هتاخد بالك؟ يبقى ايه الحاجه اللي هتعرفني ان انت المستر فعلا حاطط صوديوم هيدروكسيد هنا وحاطط اتش سي
انديكيتور.
ال هنا؟ ايه؟ ايوه الانديكيتور.
انديكيتور.
انديكيتور هو اللي هيعرفني ان انا فعلا بعمل حاجه مش بضحك عليك. والا كان زماني حطيت مثلا شويه ووتر على شويه ووتر وعملت شويه ووتر وقلت لك ايه رايك في الاكسبيرمنت الرهيبه دي، وانت لا حاطط صوديوم هيدروكسيد ولا اتش سي ال ولا حاجه. طب ما هيفرق ايه؟ نفس المنظر. So you have to put something that tells you that there is a change in here. This is called the indicator. The indicator color changes according to the what? According to the what?
السبستانس.
The pH of the solution. صح، the pH of the solution. هل انت السوليوشن بتاعك بيزك؟ هل انت السوليوشن بتاعك بيزك ولا السوليوشن بتاعك اسيدك ولا
او
السوليوشن بتاعك
نيوترال.
نيوترال؟ لو بيزك ليها لون، لو اسيدك ليها لون، لو نيوترال ليها لون. So every one of them has a different color. كويس. طب انت حطيت ده على ده على ده وعملت ده، ماشي. يبقى احنا قلنا في واحد بيفضل موجود تحت، اللي هو مين؟ ال HCl في المره الاولانيه. احنا هنبدلهم بعد كده. we'll change them. اوكي. so واحد فيهم بيفضل موجود تحت. نعملها كده اهو. اللي هو مين؟ اللي هو الاسيد، صح؟ والتاني بدل ما هحطه، بدل ما هدلقه عليه على طول كده، هدلقه عليه ازاي؟ قلنا بدل ما احطه
دروب
كده على طول
وايز.
هحطه بالايه؟ عن طريق ايه؟
بالبايبت.
بالبيوريت. احط بدل ما ادلقه
بالبيرات،
عليه
سوري.
كله مره واحده، بدل ما احط له عليه مره واحده كل البيز عليه كده يا اياد، انا هحطه بالبيوريت. طب ليه يا مستر ما
لسه.
دلقتوش مره واحده؟
وانا
why
ممكن
you didn't
اقول
put؟
دروبر.
لا ما اسمهاش دروب، لازم اقول بيوريت، علشان البيوريت
بيرات ماشي.
هتعرفني انا استخدمت قد ايه بالظبط. ليه ما
تمام.
دلقتش ليه ما حطيتش ال NaOH كله مره واحده على ال HCl وخلصت؟ ما انا كان ممكن اعمل كده، صح؟ why I
ممكن.
didn't يا put all the amount of sodium hydroxide on the HCl بدل ما اقعد احط دروب وايز واحده واحده زي الراجل اللي ماسك الاكسبيرمنت ده، واحده 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 بالدروب كده. because if I put all the sodium hydroxide on the HCl at one time السوليوشن بتاعي ممكن يكون يتحول الى بيز. ليه؟ مين اللي هيكون اكتر لو انا حطيت كتير؟ لو انا حطيت كتير
ال NaOH لو حطيت كتير
NaOH لو انا
هتطلع
دلقت
بيس.
كتير مره واحده if I put too much at once the solution will be basic.
بيس.
طب لو حطيت قليل less than needed السوليوشن هيكون
اسيدك.
ايه؟ acidic. وانا مش عايز بيزك ولا acidic، انا عايز اوصل لحاجه اسمها ايه؟
نيوترال.
الاند بوينت.
اند بوينت.
ايه الاند بوينت؟ ذا بوينت لما يكون
البيس
الاتش
والاسيد
بلس،
نفس
الاتش بلس بتساوي ايه؟ الاو
ال
اتش
OH
ماينس
ماينس.
كونسنتريشن. ذا اتش بلس كونسنتريشن از ايكوال تو اتش ماينس كونسنتريشن. يبقى عايز اوصل للحظه بس بالظبط ذا اكزاكت مومنت at which these two are equal. طب وهعرف الاكزاكت مومنت ازاي يا مستر؟ باستخدام الايه؟ الانديكيتور.
الانديكيتور.
So I cannot put the sodium hydroxide total like that. I have to put it using something which is doing this slowly, slowly, slowly. I cannot do the process like that. I have to do it slowly, slowly. How can you do it slowly, slowly? Using this purette.
بيرات.
بدل ما هجيب الصوديوم هيدروكسيد وهحطها فيها في مرة واحدة، لا أنا هشيل دي كده وهدلق الدلقه ديت. بدل ما ادلقها هدلقها في الحاجه اللي احنا قلنا اسمها ايه؟ البيوريت. وير از ذا بيوريت؟ اهي. هجيب دي كده واقوم جايب البيوريت ومعبيها كلها بالصوديوم هيدروكسيد. معبيها كلها مره واحده بالصوديوم هيدروكسيد واقفل مين؟ التاب. I will close this tab. اوكي. إيه، هفضل معلق البتاعه دي في الهواء كده؟ صعب قوي الموضوع ده. ايه رايك؟ لازم احط ايه؟ ستاند. لازم اجيب ايه؟ ستاند، صح؟ واجيب كلامب. كلامب يعني حاجه بتمسك في البيوريت كده عشان تفضل طول ما هي في الاكسبيرمنت شغاله. وافتح وافتح شويه 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 شويه. طيب، في الاول خالص، اول جزء في الاكسبيرمنت يا اياد، when I do the experiment at the beginning when I do the experiment at the beginning let me try to see if this opened ولا still loading. The solution when I started ولسه ما بدأتش ولسه ما فتحتش التاب، السوليوشن كان ايه يا اياد؟ كان اسيدك ولا بيزك؟ انا لسه ما بدأتش، لسه ما حطيتش من الصوديوم هيدروكسيد. انا عبيتها خلاص ومليتها. كان ايه؟
أسيدك.
اسيدك. ممتاز. انا شلت خلاص كل حاجه. انا عبيتها. I filled it with the sodium hydroxide وبقت دي كلها مليانه صوديوم هيدروكسيد خلاص. ولسه ما فتحتش حاجه. So I'm still here at acidic point. So at the beginning I'm acidic. What is the indicator that I have chosen? احنا عندنا يا مستر كذا indicator قلنا عليهم. So which indicator you will use at the beginning? Let me see if I have the titration pictures here. I'll make it easier. I think I have it now. Okay, so this is the indicator, Mister. Which one I will choose? I will choose methyl orange ولا phenol phthalene ولا methyl blue. Which one I will choose? احنا حافظين ايه يا مستر من chapter 3؟ Which one I will choose? اختار اللي انت عايزه.
آه،
خدنا اي حاجة في المدرسة؟
لا.
خدناش الوان خالص. Okay. So the most two indicators that I'm gonna use is the phenol phthalene and the other one. Let me see the colors are showing. Oh, خلاص. Okay, it's showing now. So this is the first step that I was telling you about. This is how this is how you put the paper. You fill the flask at the beginning. This is how you fill the flask at the beginning. احنا قلنا بتعبيها بالايه؟ بالبايبت. You fill it with the pipette. ودي قلنا it's an easy and fast process. وبعدين هحط few drops من ايه؟ I will put few drops from what? From my indicator. اول ما حطيت few drops السوليوشن بتاعي its color has changed، صح؟ وبعدين هحط البيوريت. اجيب البيوريت بتاعتي. البيوريت هتكون متعلقه في الهواء. I have to put it and fix it. How do I fix it? I use what? ستاند. والستاند مع ايه؟ كلامب. الكلامب هو الجزء اللي بيمسك في البيوريت عشان تبقى fixed. This is the part that I use here. This is called the clamp. خلاص. وبقوم حاطط الفلاسك بتاعتي تحت الايه؟ بقوم حاطط الفلاسك بتاعتي تحت الايه؟ تحت البيوريت. وكل ده لسه انا قافل الدنيا ما فتحتش مفروض. Okay, the next part, let's start that my solution when I started was هنقول على الألوان دلوقتي. I start opening the tab slowly. كل ده. One second. And okay, I get it. We are not taking all of this in pH indicators. We are just taking some of them, so I'll tell you which one of them to know. The first one is the universal indicator. We have seen this indicator before. When the solution is neutral, the color is green. When the solution is red, then it is a strong acid, and when it is purple, it is a strong base. And then I have a range of colors in between. I'm not supposed to know exact color for each one of them. So I will not be asked in the exam, for example, what is the color when it is pH 2, or what is the color when the pH is 10. I will not get like that. I just need to know the range of colors. Like if I'm asked red, I will not be asked to say that the pH is 0 or 1 or like that. I'm just required to know that it is acidic. So if he asked me if it is red or it is yellow or it is orange, then I'm supposed to know it is acidic, but not exact number. And also if I'm asked if it is blue or if it is indigo or if it is purple, I will not be asked to know what is it 11 or 12? I will not be asked like that. I will just be required to know that it is a basic range. But the colors that I must know and its exact color is the green. This one you should not change. يعني ما ينفعش اقول له مثلا ان البي اتش في النيوترال is light green او yellow. لا، لازم اقول له نيوترال يعني green بس. So this is the only color that I need to know exactly that pH 7 is equal to green. What is the indicator I'm talking about again? The universal indicator. Right. The second indicator that I'm gonna use is the phenolphthalein. The name is a little bit difficult, so we'll try to break it into 3 parts. The phenol, this is the first part, and then pH, TH, and then alene. This is the phenolphthalein. Phenol, and then pH, TH, and then alene. This is the phenolphthalein. What is the colors of the phenolphthalein? If the solution is 0, is it acidic? Yes, 0 to 7, it is what? Acidic. What will be the color? It will be colorless. What if it is neutral? What is the color? The color is also colorless. يعني لما يكونوا الاثنين قد بعض والH plus and OH minus, it will still be colorless. طب what if the solution become نقطة واحدة بس basic؟ يعني ال OH minus أكتر من ال H plus ب1 drop only. This it will become pink. ممتاز. So I made my experiment here. This is the experiment that I put here. حطيت الانديكيتور بتاعي. اخترت في الاكسبيرمنت ديت ان انا احط الفينول فينول phthalein, for example. So which one you will choose? I will choose to put here, so the color will be colorless because you said that this is still acidic. Then you will put 1 drop of the base. هتفتح وتنزل نقطة واحدة بس. هتلاقي حاجة غريبة جدا. When you put this drop, the drop that goes down make pink color. وبعدين البينك color يختفي. الحتة اللي نزل فيها البيز بس، الحتة اللي نزل فيها البيز بس هتتحول إلى بينك. ولسه ببص عليه ولسه هتأكد من اللون ده هو ده بينك فعلا. هلاقي البينك اختفى. ليه البينك اختفى؟ لأن ال OH minus is very small compared to what؟ لل H plus. السوليوشن مليان H plus ومفيش غير دروب واحدة بس من ال NaOH نزلت تحت. يبقى السوليوشن is very acidic now. Solution is very acidic. طب هفضل هفتح الحنفية شوية. مش هعملها بدروب وايز بقى، هخليها أسرع شوية. هخليها a little bit faster. عمال انزل OH. امتى هبطأ تاني بقى؟ When I'm going to slow down and make it a little bit slower, when I notice that the pink color takes too much time to go to colorless. لما اخد بالي واحس ان الكلر لا بياخد وقت كتير بقى. الاول لما كنت بحط البينك تظهر وتختفي على طول. ابتديت الاحظ ان لما السوليوشن بينزل البينك بتختفي، ولازم اقعد ارج الفلاسك كتير قوي، ارجها اعمل لها اسمها ايه؟ swirling. I will make swirling too much علشان يختفي. معنى ذلك ان الاو اتش بقى ايه يا سعيد؟ عمال يزيد بقى. ما عادش الاتش اكتر بكتير، لسه الاتش اكتر لكن مش بكتير قوي عن الاو اتش. معنى ذلك الاو اتش زاد، عشان كده بياخد وقت عبال ما يختفي. فهبتدي ساعتها ابطأ بقى واشتغل دروب وايز. الدروب اللي هيحصل فيها الكلر هيتحول الى بينك، يبقى السوليوشن بقى بتاعي ايه؟ بيزك. بقى السوليوشن بقى بتاعي بيزك. ليه بقى بيزك؟ because the OH minus now is more than ال H plus. طب فين الاند بوينت يا مستر؟ فين الاند بوينت؟ ما هي الاند بوينت يعني الاثنين قد بعض، واحنا اتفقنا لما يكونوا الاثنين قد بعض الكلر هيكون ايه؟ لسه ايه؟ colorless. يبقى الاند بوينت is the previous point، النقطة اللي قبل دي على طول. عشان كده انت اول ما تلاقي السوليوشن بياخد وقت علشان يتحول الى colorless، لازم تبطأ وتشتغل دروب دروب. لازم تشتغل ايه؟ دروب وايز، لان النقطة اللي هيتحول فيها النقطة اللي قبلها على طول هي ديت ايه؟ السوليوشن. وتعرف بقى انت استخدمت قد ايه؟ مستر انا كنت ستارتنج بزيرو، كنت بادي بزيرو ام ال، وبعدين وصلت لغايه 23 ام ال. يبقى انا I needed how much من ال NaOH عشان اعمل التايتريشن؟ I needed 23 ام ال. ساعات الموضوع بيكون معكوس. يعني ايه معكوس؟ يعني بدأ ب 50 ام ال and then you stop at 30. So you used 20 ml. اوكي this is the titration steps يا مستر. بس انا استفدت منها ايه يا مستر؟ او انا بعمل التايتريشن دي ليه؟ هنقولها في الكالكوليشنز. لكن انا دلوقتي اللي انا عايز اعرفه الستبس بتاعتي. what are the steps that I have made. So I put the solution of the acid at the bottom, and I put the solution of the base in the burette, and I let the burette mix with the acid. يبقى انا بعمل gradual change للكلر من البيزك، من الاسيدك سوليوشن للبيزك سوليوشن، عشان اعرف النيوتراليزيشن حصل امتى. انا كده عملت السوليوشن، والسوليوشن بتاعي بقى نيوترال، وعرفت ان النيوتراليزيشن حصلت. يعني انا دلوقتي متاكد ان في صوديوم كلورايد جوه. انا دلوقتي متاكد ان في ايه؟ صوديوم كلورايد بلس ووتر. الاول ما كنتش متاكد. ليه؟ كان كلرليس على كلرليس بيديني كلرليس، صح؟ لكن دلوقتي انا اتاكدت ان السوليوشن بقى نيوترال، لان البي اتش بتاعتي بقت 7، والكلر النقطه اللي بعديها بقى بيزك. اوكي you made all these steps. عملت كل الخطوات ديت. اوكي ساعات انا بحتاج اعمل الاوبوزيت بروسيس. ساعات انا بحتاج اعمل الاوبوزيت بروسيس. يعني ايه الاوبوزيت بروسيس؟ يعني بدل ما الفلاسك بتاعتي يكون فيها الاسيد والبيوريت بتاعتي هي اللي فيها البيز، I will do exactly the same thing، بس I will reverse it. يعني هيكون الفلاسك بتاعتي هي اللي فيها البيز، والبيوريت بتاعتي هي اللي هيكون فيها الاسيد. طيب the best indicator to use in this case is the methyl orange. What are the colors of the methyl orange? If the solution is red, it means it is acidic. When it turns into yellow, it means the solution become neutral. And it is yellow also. احنا اعتقد الكتاب بتاعنا بيقول orange and yellow. Most of the book says yellow and yellow, but our book says orange and yellow here. Okay, so I will put my base at the bottom, sodium hydroxide. So the solution is yellow. And then I will keep adding the acid. Every time a drop of acid comes down، في الأول هفتح التاب زيادة شوية. كل ما هلاقي دروب اتحولت إلى ريد هلاقيها بترجع تاني يلو بسرعة. ليه؟ لأن ال OH minus is much more than ال H plus. وبعدين when I see that the solution turns from red into yellow slowly, I will start to make it drop wise. ليه؟ ال OH minus قرب يبقى قد ال H plus، لسه أكتر بس مش أكتر بكتير. أول ما الكلر بتاعي يتحول من اليالو إلى الأورنج، يبقى أنا عرفت إن الاتنين بقوا إيه؟ قد بعض. ال OH concentration is equal to ال H plus concentration. طب والدروب اللي بعديها لما يتحول ريد؟ لا، يبقى انا بقيت اسيدك. يبقى ال H plus الدروب دي هي اللي بقى اكتر من OH minus. Which drop I want? The orange one. The one in which both of them are equal. This is the end point, the point at which the two are equal to each other. طيب خلينا نبص على الأسئلة. خلينا نفتح الكويز على طول. احنا ما قلناش حلينا الكويز صح؟ We didn't solve the quiz until now. So let's go for the quiz directly.